Imagine this. Elon Musk has spent years building Tesla into a global empire, betting everything on electric cars. Charging stations are popping up across cities, governments are pushing EV adoption, and the future seemed locked in. Electric vehicles would rule the roads. But then Toyota drops a bombshell. They reveal something that sounds almost impossible. A car engine that doesn't need gasoline. Doesn't need electricity. Doesn't even need a charging station. Instead, it claims to run on the most ordinary liquid on Earth, water. Yes, plain water. And now, the question sending shockwaves through the auto industry is this: could Toyota's water engine destroy the electric car revolution before it even reaches its peak, or is this just another shiny dream that will fall apart under pressure? Stay tuned, because what we're about to uncover might just change the way you think about the future of cars forever. Toyota's announcement sounded like something pulled straight out of science fiction. They claimed to have developed a prototype engine that could run on water, yes, regular water from a tap or a bottle. The idea is simple to describe but extraordinary in impact. Here's how it supposedly works. The system takes in water and uses a process called electrolysis. That means the water is split into two gases, hydrogen and oxygen. The hydrogen is then fed into the engine, where it's ignited to release power. The result, energy to move the car forward, and the only thing coming out of the exhaust pipe is water vapor. Think about what that means. No gasoline. No charging cables. No carbon emissions. Just water going in, and harmless vapor coming out. If it works the way Toyota claims, this could solve some of the biggest problems facing the auto industry today. It sounds like a miracle. But as always, when something sounds too good to be true, it usually comes with a catch. So how exactly can a car run on water? The secret lies in a process called electrolysis. When water passes through an electrolyzer, it gets split into hydrogen and oxygen. The hydrogen becomes the star of the show. It's pumped into the engine, mixed with air, and ignited. That explosion creates power, driving the pistons and moving the car. On paper, it sounds revolutionary. Unlike battery-powered EVs, there's no need to mine tons of lithium, no hours-long charging times, and no worries about running out of juice far from a charging station. Instead, you just refill the car with water and keep going. But there's a catch. Engines built for gasoline can't simply swap in hydrogen. They need specialized upgrades, different injectors, spark plugs, even redesigned cylinder heads to handle the new fuel. Toyota claims their engineers have already developed these critical components, making their design not just theoretical, but potentially practical. If true, this technology could sidestep many of the current roadblocks facing electric vehicles. But as history shows, this isn't the first time someone has promised a car that runs on water. As exciting as Toyota's claim sounds, it's far from the first time someone has promised a car that could run on water. In fact, history is littered with inventors who made bold claims, only to end in failure or outright fraud. Back in the 1980s, an American inventor named Stanley Meyer stunned the world with his so-called water dune buggy. He claimed it could travel cross-country using nothing but water as fuel. For years, Meyer attracted headlines and even investors. But when scientists and courts examined his work, the verdict was devastating: his invention was a fraud, and he was ordered to repay investors. Fast forward to the early 2000s, when a company called Genesis World Energy promised a similar breakthrough. They convinced thousands of investors to pour in millions of dollars. But once again, there was no real working technology, only a massive scam. And it didn't stop there. In 2008, a Japanese firm claimed to have built a car that could run on water. The story exploded across the internet, but within weeks, experts debunked it as nothing more than hype. In Sri Lanka, even a famous singer got caught up in the craze, boasting about his water car before the truth came crashing down: it was fake. More recently, in 2022, an Indonesian inventor made headlines for demonstrating what he called a water-fueled motorcycle. But when experts asked for proof, the claims quickly unraveled. The pattern is clear. Time after time, bold promises of water cars ended in disappointment, deception, or both. So now the real question is, why should we believe Toyota's attempt is any different? Here's where things get interesting. Unlike the failed inventors of the past, Toyota isn't some small-time dreamer chasing headlines. We're talking about one of the largest and most respected automakers in the world, a company known for engineering reliability and long-term vision. This isn't Toyota's first dance with hydrogen either. Back in 2014, they launched the Toyota Mirai, a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle that's still on the market today. While it never went mainstream, it proved Toyota had the resources, the patents, and the know-how to push hydrogen technology further than most rivals ever could. In fact, Toyota currently holds over 5,000 patents in hydrogen fuel technology. And in 2024, they revealed plans for a brand new factory dedicated to producing hydrogen engines at scale. That's not the kind of move a company makes if they're chasing a fantasy. And unlike many past water car claims, Toyota isn't trying to bypass science. They're building on decades of real hydrogen research and refining the tech with new catalysts, advanced materials, and engine designs specifically adapted for hydrogen combustion. That's why, for the first time, people are taking this idea seriously. But of course, there's another side to the story: powerful industries that may not want a breakthrough like this to succeed. If Toyota really has the key to a car that runs on water, you can bet there are powerful forces who won't be happy about it. After all, the global fossil fuel industry is worth trillions of dollars. Entire economies, corporations, and governments depend on oil revenue. A technology that could make gasoline obsolete, that's a direct threat to some of the most powerful players on Earth. And history shows how far those industries are willing to go. Over the years, inventors claiming to develop alternative fuels have often faced smear campaigns, lawsuits, or sudden disappearances from the public eye. Whether coincidence or conspiracy, it's easy to see why people believe these breakthroughs are silenced before they can take off. The skepticism in mainstream media doesn't help either. Any mention of a water engine instantly gets labeled as impossible or a hoax, which discourages serious discussion. It almost feels like the public is being trained to dismiss the idea before it even has a chance. So the question is, will Toyota's massive influence and global reach be enough to break through the wall of resistance, or will the same forces that crushed the dream before step in once again? One thing is certain: while Toyota pushes ahead, the rest of the world isn't standing still. In fact, a fierce battle is already underway in the global race for the future of cars. While Toyota experiments with hydrogen and water-powered engines, the rest of the auto industry is locked in a fierce battle over electric vehicles. And right now, two giants are leading the charge: Tesla in the US and China's EV makers. China has gone all in on electric cars. Companies like BID, NIO, and XPeng are flooding the market with affordable EVs, and their government is backing them with huge incentives and infrastructure projects. The result: China now sells more electric cars than any other country on Earth. Meanwhile, in the US, Tesla still dominates, with Elon Musk's empire setting the standard for EV technology and charging networks. But legacy automakers like GM and Ford are racing to catch up, pouring billions into electric vehicle development. The advantages of EVs are obvious, they're proven, mass-produced, and supported by a rapidly growing network of charging stations. But they're not perfect. Batteries are expensive to make, they rely on rare minerals like lithium and cobalt, and charging can still take hours, a major inconvenience compared to the 5 minutes it takes to fill a gas tank. And that's where Toyota sees an opening. Because if a hydrogen or water-based engine can deliver fast refueling, long range, and cleaner energy, it could expose the weak spots in the EV revolution. But is that really possible or just wishful thinking on paper? Toyota's water engine could solve problems that electric cars still struggle with, the biggest advantage: refueling speed. Instead of waiting 30 minutes or even hours at a charging station, a hydrogen-based system could be topped up in just a few minutes, just like filling a gas tank today. There's also the issue of weight. Batteries are heavy, which limits range and performance, especially for larger vehicles like trucks and buses. Hydrogen, on the other hand, is far lighter, making it far more efficient for long-distance travel and heavy-duty use. Then there's range. EVs can only go so far before running out of charge, and cold weather can make things even worse. Hydrogen systems, powered by water through electrolysis, could potentially offer greater range with far fewer limitations. And let's not forget about resources. Lithium mining for EV batteries is expensive, environmentally damaging, and geopolitically sensitive. Water, on the other hand, is one of the most abundant substances on Earth. If Toyota's catalysts really make electrolysis efficient enough, this could dramatically lower costs and reduce dependence on scarce minerals. Put all that together, and the picture looks clear: a water-powered engine isn't just about innovation, it's about breaking free from the limits of batteries and fossil fuels alike. But before we get too carried away, we need to ask, can Toyota actually take this from theory to reality, or will it end up as just another bold experiment that never makes it past the prototype stage? So where does this leave us if Toyota really pulls this off? The impact could be massive. Imagine cities where cars, buses, and even trucks run on nothing but water, no pollution, no reliance on oil, and no endless wait at charging stations. But let's be clear, this technology isn't ready for mass production yet. Splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen is energy intensive, and Toyota still needs to prove their system can be efficient, affordable, and safe at scale. History is filled with bold promises about water cars that fizzled out under real-world testing. Still, Toyota isn't some small startup making wild claims. This is one of the world's biggest automakers with decades of research in hydrogen tech, hybrid engines, and alternative fuels. If anyone can turn this idea from science fiction into science fact, it's them. At the very least, their announcement signals one thing: the future of cars is wide open. Electric vehicles may dominate now, but hydrogen and maybe even water itself could play a far bigger role than most people ever imagined. Oncoming automobile: the race for the future of transportation isn't over. In fact, it might just be getting started. Backhand index pointing right. So, what do you think? Could Toyota's water engine replace electric cars, or is this just another overhyped dream? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of technology.